COVID-19 pandemic. The IMF says corruption and responsibly during the COVID-19 pandemic. The IMF says corruption and unaccountability pose a serious threat to economies rebounding. Here's Andrew Lately.
Track the millions. That's the word from IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva. She's urging member states to keep a record of their spending during the COVID-19 pandemic. A lack of transparency, she argues, could derail economic progress.
Our message to governments, very clear. In this time of crisis, please spend whatever is needed, but spend wisely and keep the receipts. We don't want accountability to be lost.
2 years ago, the IMF board approved a new governance framework to stifle corruption in its member states. Ms. Georgieva says adherence to that framework is needed now more than ever to protect the most vulnerable.
Corruption is a corrosive force that hits the poor and the most vulnerable people the hardest. And it is tragic when government action is needed to save lives and protect livelihoods, but money is squandered rather than deployed for what is their priority.
Despite the governance framework, civil society organizations, including Transparency International, have expressed concern regarding insufficient anti-corruption or transparency measures in the fund's emergency loans. In response, the IMF says governments receiving emergency financing have committed to adopt a range of measures. These include publishing procurement contracts online, the owners of companies receiving these contracts, and publishing independent audits of crisis mitigation spending. All countries receiving emergency financing must also commit to undertake a safeguards assessment to provide reasonable assurance that the central bank's reporting and controls are adequate. Andrew Lately, TVJ News.